On July 22, 2014, 3 Nepali women proudly stood on top of K2, celebrated as the first all-female team to conquer the world's deadliest mountain. They made history on a savage mountain, or did they? From wild controversy to questions on who really led the way. Today, we're looking at the K2 summit that sparked global outrage. Welcome to the Extreme Edge. In the summer of 2014, 3 Nepalese climbers, Pasang Lamu Sherpa, Dawa Yongsum Sherpa, and Maya Sherpa, set out to make history. Their goal was to become the first all-female team to summit K2, known more infamously as the Savage Mountain. From the onset, girl power was central to their expedition. These women originated from the quiet valleys where their voices have long been muted. For generations, Nepali women have carried the burdens of their homes and communities, their strength often unseen, their aspirations unheard. Yet, our 3 climbers believed the towering peaks of K2 could serve as more than just a backdrop. It could become a stage where they could showcase the capabilities of Nepali women, and by reaching the summit, they could shatter stereotypes and open the door for the next generation of female climbers. Their revolutionary expedition was organized by the Himalayan Women Welfare Society, alongside support from various organizations and government bodies. All 3 women were already accomplished climbers, with Pasang and Dawa being graduates of the renowned Khumbu Climbing Center. Maya, on the other hand, had earned the respect from the broader climbing community when she became the first Nepalese woman to summit Cho Oyu, the world's 6th highest mountain. She had also already scaled Everest twice by this point, and her impressive status earned her the position of team leader on the expedition. This would be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the team. But the 3 female climbers were not just on a personal mission. They were determined to use their K2 climb as a way to inspire women in their country and around the world, and to encourage greater female participation in the sport. Their climb was particularly significant at the time, given the challenges faced by Nepali women in a male-dominated industry. And if that's not enough, there was also another side to their climb. All 3 women shared a strong passion for the environment, and this expedition would also stand as a platform to raise awareness about climate change. Their motto throughout the entire climb was "Women Climbing for Climate Change." As they readied themselves for the adventure of a lifetime, many considered the expedition a bold undertaking. For longtime followers of the channel, you know we speak of K2 with great respect, and for good reason. This mountain demands respect, and for those who underestimate it, they often pay the ultimate price. Within the mountaineering community, K2 is known as the Savage Mountain, a title it has earned due to its exceptionally high fatality rate and the dangerous climbing conditions it presents. For every 4 brave souls who attempt to conquer its towering summit, 1 will not return home. These are not good odds and are worse than Everest's. So when the female climbers bid farewell to their friends and families on May 21st at a ceremony in Kathmandu, they were aware of the dangers they would face. By early summer, they had arrived on the mountain, and over the next 7 weeks, they faced unpredictable and severe weather, including strong winds, frequent storms, and sub-zero temperatures. By the time they reached base camp at around 16,900 feet above sea level, they were likely already exhausted, but this was where the real challenge began. From here, they had to climb steep slopes, carefully navigate around avalanche-prone terrain, and use their technical skills to climb over sharp rock faces. It was no walk in the park, but their thorough preparation and training reassured them and their loved ones that they were as ready as they could be for the challenges ahead. But the final push almost became more than anyone had bargained for. Tiny detour on this chaos train. If you'd like to be part of the extreme community, get early access to our videos and exclusive polls, come join us on Patreon. After many weeks on the mountain, the female team was set to face their most formidable challenge yet. By mid-July, they were ready for the final push, which was a week spent climbing up a staggering 11,000 feet from K2's advanced base camp to the summit. Here, they moved between 4 camps, overcoming the notorious House Chimney, a particularly dangerous part of the climb. This is due to its steep, icy, and narrow nature, combined with the high altitude and potential for falling rocks and ice. Then came the summit push. The 3 women had to climb over 2,100 feet, and navigate an infamous, dangerous, and unpredictable bottleneck. This is a narrow couloir located approximately 1,300 feet below the summit. At this height, the human body struggles to function. Oxygen levels are drastically reduced, and this can lead to confusion, impaired judgment, and even hallucinations. But this wasn't the only thing the Nepali team had to fight against. They must also deal with the massive serac that hovers above the bottleneck. Large chunks of this towering block of glacial ice could break off without warning, and if it did, the climbers would be thrown into immediate danger, as it would unleash an avalanche of ice and snow, sweeping away anyone in its path. Unfortunately, many climbers have lost their lives here due to serac falls. However, despite the challenges that lay before them, the Nepali women persevered with the climb, and by 3:35 p.m. on July 26, 2014, they finally reached the summit. By reaching the peak of K2 and planting the Nepalese flag on its snow-covered mountains, the three climbers claimed to be the first all-female team ever to summit K2. Looking back on this achievement, Pasang explained, "At the top, I was so emotional. We were all crying. I was too happy to talk." For the three women, this was more than a personal achievement. It was an accomplishment that sought to inspire the future generations of female climbers. It was a truly pivotal moment for women's mountaineering, showcasing the power of the female spirit in a predominantly male-dominated sport. The true nature of their achievement was highlighted by the small number of women who had climbed K2. At the time of the Nepali female summit, as few as 18 of the 376 people who reached the top of the Savage Mountain were women. Therefore, 3 female climbers reaching the summit during one expedition was a monumental achievement. However, even the most significant triumphs come with criticism in one form or another, and despite what they had just overcome, their accomplishment was soon called into question online. As we all know, the internet can quickly turn against us, and these female climbers were about to find out just how cruel and unforgiving it can be. The details of their climb and the subsequent claims of an all-female summit quickly became a source of contention. Had they really reached the top of K2 by themselves? And if not, who really helped these 3 Nepalese women reach the summit of the world's most infamous mountain? Some critics began to question the authenticity of their claim, and it soon became apparent that the 3 women had relied on male porters and Sherpas for most of the climb. This led the critics to begin pushing a different narrative, and the central question became, did the Nepali team's success truly represent an all-female achievement, or did the contributions of the male Sherpas who played crucial roles in setting up camps, fixing ropes, and guiding the climbers diminish the claim? For any new viewers to the channel, the role Sherpas play in reaching many of the world's highest peaks cannot be overstated. In fact, many climbers would argue they are essential. They're renowned for their expertise in high-altitude climbing, their ability to carry heavy loads, and their knowledge of the mountain. They're often the unsung heroes of expeditions, playing a vital role in ensuring the safety and success of climbers. In the case of the K2 expedition, male Sherpas were responsible for tasks such as fixing ropes, setting up camps, and carrying essential equipment. Without their support, the summit attempt would have been significantly more difficult, if not impossible. Maya's husband, Arnold Koester, who works as a mountain guide, was quick to come to the defense of the women. He claimed the women operated independently during their climb, explaining they made their own decisions, carried their own gear, but when it was summit time, the whole group had to work together. But when people online heard that the Nepali women had pushed for the summit alongside another team, they were again quick to criticize the expedition's all-female label. However, going for the summit alongside another team is not uncommon. Generally, the weather and terrain dictate when and where teams move, so it's to be expected that separate expedition groups blend together during the final leg of a climb. But regardless of these points made by various members of the climbing community, the controversy surrounding the K2 summit continued to escalate. Accusations of exaggeration and misrepresentation were directed towards the Sherpa women and their supporters. Some climbers and mountaineering experts expressed skepticism about the team's account of the climb. and the debate spilled over into social media and mountaineering forums, with passionate arguments on both sides. Critics argued the summit was a team effort, and the Sherpas' contributions should have been acknowledged more prominently. Some even felt that the all-female narrative was used to garner attention and recognition, while the Sherpas, who played a critical role, were not given adequate credit. But supporters of the Nepali women passionately defended their achievement, emphasizing the immense challenges they faced and the unwavering courage and determination they displayed. They argued that the criticism was fueled by sexism and a lack of respect for Nepali mountaineers. Even today in Nepal, women still face challenges in having their voices heard and ensuring their rights are fully realized, despite legal and constitutional protections. While progress has been made in areas like political representation, significant barriers remain, particularly in rural areas and for marginalized groups. Some feminist groups would go as far as to argue that Nepali women still have no voice in either the political or social spheres. So was this a matter of gender? If it were a male team with female porters, would the internet have reacted the same? As we previously mentioned, there's more than one way to view the controversial claims, and it could be said that neither side of the argument is entirely accurate. When it comes to attributing credit for the climb, many have argued it should have nothing to do with gender. Instead, everyone who took part in the expedition should be credited for the role they played, including both male and female porters, as many believe such expeditions could not go ahead without them. This then leads us to consider the ethical side of the dilemma. As the vast majority of the summits are completed with the aid of porters, should critics openly question the support system behind a climb or simply celebrate the achievement? When we think of all of the greatest mountaineering achievements of the past few decades, more often than not, it is those who either set foot on the summit or skied down from its towering slopes that received all of the credit. But just like the Nepalese female team, they also had porters carrying their gear and setting up lines. Did it ever diminish their achievements? Most would argue no. This is the position taken by Hillary O'Neill, a professional ski mountaineer who successfully summited Everest with Dawa in 2012. When asked about the controversy of many porters aiding in the alleged all-female summit, Hillary said, "I don't think their accomplishment is diminished, it's just different. It's still an amazing accomplishment because they have a lot of social constraints that they are overcoming, regardless if men were on it." But this isn't the first time in history a controversy has arisen in the wake of a female team's success. Back in 1978, the American climber Arlene Bloom led an all-female team to the top of Annapurna. In a similar manner to the Nepali K2 expedition, their accomplishment came under scrutiny, as they also had male porters assisting them in carrying supplies up the mountain. When questioned about this, Arlene said, 2 years earlier, in 1976, the American bicentennial Everest expedition was supported by 40 Sherpas. Does that diminish the climb being an American one? Arlene's quote leads us to consider the idea that when American expeditions reach the top of summits in Asia, they generally don't share the credit. For example, if a team from California summits K2 using a team of Pakistani porters and Sherpas, they don't call it a successful American-Pakistani summit. But should they? Should it then not be the same for every summit? If an American team that only made it to the summit due to the back-breaking work of Pakistani or Nepali porters and Sherpas can call it an American expedition, shouldn't the Nepali women be allowed to do the same thing? Why did they receive so much backlash for simply highlighting that the main expedition was an all-female team? This brings us to one important point, that many in the wider mountaineering world believe climbers often take too much credit, even if unintentionally. This is best portrayed in the story of the first climbers to reach the summit of Mount Everest. In 1953, Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay made history by reaching the top of the world's highest mountain. Tenzing, who also worked as a Sherpa during this iconic climb, was an experienced mountaineer and played a crucial role in the expedition's success. Despite Edmund frequently calling Tenzing his partner, some argue the Sherpa's contributions were not fully recognized, and that the focus on Hillary overshadowed Tenzing's achievements. This has led to discussions about the historical context of the expedition, including the colonial dynamics and the potential for underrepresentation of Sherpa contributions. On the one hand, we've seen how Sherpas and porters are often overlooked, despite their crucial role in helping climbers reach the summit of the world's highest mountains. However, on the other hand, their contribution shouldn't overshadow the accomplishments of climbers, such as the Nepali women who remarkably reached the summit of the world's most treacherous mountain. But what do you think? Is there a way we can find a middle ground where both sides are equally represented? Or do you believe one side has more of a claim to fame? Here's one more thing to consider. When the Nepalis made their daring adventure up the Savage Mountain in 2014, even if they had wanted an all-female team, meaning no male porters or support staff of any kind, it would have been all but impossible. As O'Neill pointed out, the entire structure of Himalaya expeditions is 99.9% male-dominated, from the porters to the cooks to the waiters who serve and clean. There simply weren't enough female porters or support staff in the mountaineering community. They just accomplished something extraordinary. By conquering one of the world's highest peaks, these women not only achieved a personal milestone, but also sent a clear message about the capabilities of women as a whole and the right to pursue their passions, regardless of societal limitations. Pasang, like other climbers, was forced to deal with sexist remarks from an early age, but she used this as fuel to overcome the stereotypes associated with mountaineering. When she was just 15, Pasang was frequently reminded that climbing mountains as a profession was a man's job, and people continuously discouraged her, claiming that earning money and supporting a family was a man's role. But considering she lost her father at a young age, and then her mother, she had no option but to break the mold and earn a living by doing what she loved. In the end, this allowed her to also care for her younger sister. Climbing mountains was never about fame or adventure for Pasang. The mountains were something she felt a deep connection to. Speaking in one interview, she said, "I've always loved mountains. They're extremely fair. They don't differentiate whether you were a man or a woman." Despite the clear passion Pasang and her female counterparts Maya and Dawa had for the mountains, the controversy surrounding their expedition received criticism from all angles. But they never set out to offend anyone. All they aimed to demonstrate was that a team led by female climbers could, in fact, summit the world's most treacherous mountain, and they did it. Did it really matter that they called the expedition the first all-female summit? The controversy surrounding the label leads us back to the heart of the debate. What really defines an all-female climb? Does it mean that only women reached the summit? Or does it encompass the entire team, including support staff? The expedition's organizers and the climbers themselves had to clarify their position on this matter. Some argued that the focus should be on the women who reached the summit, while others believed that the contributions of the entire team should be acknowledged. But what do you think? What's your take on this? Share your thoughts in the comments below. After facing considerable online hate and dismissals of her team's achievement, Pasang decided to set the record straight. Speaking in an interview, she said, "Everyone who climbs big mountains relies on a team of porters or Sherpas. We just did what's normal in mountaineering. We would like people to recognize us as the first women's team to summit K2, rather than the first all-women's team." It's unlikely the debate will be resolved anytime soon, but according to Conrad Anker, who has summited Everest an impressive 3 times, regardless of this one contentious summit, women will continue to drive the sport forward. Speaking on what's next for female mountaineers, he said, "Probably the next thing for women alpine climbers is to go out and do demanding new routes. Repeating the standard route is great, but a new route on K2, and there are plenty of opportunities, by a woman would be a total breakthrough, regardless of gender. That would be a remarkable thing." His point highlights the fact that women are just as capable of making breakthroughs in mountaineering, and, given the opportunity, they can achieve anything a male climber can. As for the 3 Nepali women, their monumental achievement back in 2014 certainly helped motivate the next generation of female climbers. However, we're also compelled to acknowledge that the controversy surrounding the all-female summit of K2 has had a lasting impact on the mountaineering world. It highlighted the challenges faced by female mountaineers in a traditionally male-dominated field, as well as the importance of accurate reporting and transparency in the mountaineering community. The debate also raised questions about the ethics of commercial expeditions and the role of support teams in achieving summit success. While the controversy may have overshadowed the bravery of the Sherpa women, their attempt to summit K2 remains a significant event in mountaineering history. It serves as a reminder of the human spirit's capacity for adventure and the complexities of interpreting and celebrating such achievements. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay bold and live brave.